Hi there everyone, and welcome back to another walkthrough series where we essentially break down IELTS reading questions using step-by-step approach to answer the questions to of course gain clarity and confidence, which is a key factor in obtaining a positive result. So by the end of the video, you will find in the description box below the video, you will find a link to my platform where I share the vocabularies collected from the passages covered in each series. Okay, so passage number two. But when it comes to passage number two, what we have to understand that it could be either argumentative or descriptive, meaning there's a person that had that literally read a magazine or maybe a journal or an article and just took all those chunks and just made a passage for us to solve using these kinds of questions as well. So for the first one, we have when the question appears, what should I do first? Either read a question or just go through the questions, right? So when it comes to list of headings, which means matching heading information, it is I think it's rather better to first the actual outset is better to start from the very beginning, which means reading the passage. However, it's really necessary to know that paragraph B is already answered for us, so it's number 3 over here, so we're gonna get rid of that. I'm gonna choose this red one. Now we're gonna go for the paragraph A. So let's go with the paragraph A. As I walk through, I'll be highlighting the essential parts where I also recommend to every individual watching this who's going to be taking or who's going to be sitting the exam in the near future. Okay, the history of human civilization is entwined with the history of the ways we have learned to manipulate water resources. The word entwined means really connected, right? So we know that human civilization is connected with the history of the ways we have learned. So the human civilization is actually connected with the history. As towns gradually expanded, water was brought from increasingly remote sources. All right, leading to sophisticated engineering efforts such as dams and aqueducts. Aqueducts, maybe. At the height of the Roman Empire, 9 major systems with an innovative layout of pipes and well-built sewers. So supplied the occupants of Rome with as much water per person as is provided in many parts. So basically, supply the occupants of Rome with as much water per person as is provided in many parts of the industrial world today. So basically, each class of the people, I mean, literally population of Rome in this context, its occupants got as much water as those as with those people who lived in their urbanized areas. We call them, highly privileged people. So okay, so the basically paragraph A is just giving us the information of how water is connected, the history, and the amount of water that is literally shared to every individual, right? So we're gonna remove that one as well. So we'll go one by one and we'll try to identify the information. So scientists called for revision of policy. There was nothing about scientists. That's number one. An explanation for reduced water use, but there is nothing about the information as well. However, the actual information could be a description of ancient water supplies. Okay, so the description of ancient water supplies. In our context, obviously, a description. Let me just put a note here. A description always is so the first paragraph in many reading questions from IELTS is basically a descriptive. It describes something about a particular passage. So first paragraph is always describing a subject or the subject of a particular topic. All right. So, however, we also know that the answer we're gonna add another note. So the paragraph A is gonna be a description of ancient water supplies. All right, now let's go for the other one. We're not gonna go through the paragraph B since it's, as you can see, as is already answered for us beforehand. Yet there's a dark side to this picture. Despite our progress, half of the world's population still suffers. So there is a dark side of this, which means a disadvantage point, where the world's population still suffers with water services inferior to those available to the ancient Greeks as Romans. So world population suffer, and the water services are not good, meaning inferior means not good. That's number one. As the United Nations report on access to water reiterated in November 2001, which means United Nations reported that people have to access water. I mean, they reported it several times in November 2001. More than 1 billion people lack access to clean water. So more than 1 billion people lack access to clean drinking water. That's number one. Number two. Some 2.5 billion do not have adequate sanitation services. So half a billion, they don't have a sanitation service. Preventable water-related disease kill an estimated 10,000 to 20,000 children every day. And the latest evidence suggests that we are falling behind in efforts to solve the problems. So latest evidence are just saying that we're just not catching up to find a solution to a particular problem. All right, so paragraph C. Paragraph C basically gave, is basically providing an information of how people are suffering, or what is the reason of people suffering. So the reason people are suffering is that more than 1 billion people have lack of access to clean drinking water, and another half a billion, they don't have a normal sanitation service. All right. So, and the evidence and the research is saying that people are falling behind to solve these problems. So paragraph C. Paragraph C would obviously be a relevance to the health, maybe. A relevance to the health, however, I'm going to take that away. If to bring explanation to that, a relevance to health is when a water-related diseases kill an estimated 10 to 20,000 children every day. Diseases kill an estimated 10 to 20,000. So logically speaking, 10 to 20,000 of children being killed, so eliminated, that basically means something that is related to their health. So the disease is actually killed. It's not the water. So the diseases within the water kill an estimated 10 to 20,000 children every day. However, if the question appears and says, let's say diseases kill an estimated 10 to 20,000 population every day. So that if there's a question like true, false, not given, or yes, no, not given, the answer for if the question from true, false, not given, or yet again yes, no, not given asks you diseases kill a total number of 10 to 20,000 10 to 20,000 children every day, then the answer would be obviously false, because we always have to know how to distinguish the meaning behind the actual definition of children with population. So as a population is a general form of people. However, children are a separate class, meaning they're very, very young. They're not adults. They're not so they're basically below 18. That is also refers to, many governments have their own standard of age standards. So yeah, paragraph C, we're gonna remove paragraph C as well. So paragraph C and paragraph A. Now let's go for the paragraph D now. The consequences of our water policies extend beyond jeopardizing human health. So the consequences of water policies extend beyond. All right, so that means that the problems related to water system, they go more than taking risks that harm human health. All right, so this is another topic sentence. So I'm gonna choose a different color for that. Tens of millions of people have been forced to move from their homes, often with a little warning or compensation, to make way for the reservoirs behind dams. So they were forced. They were physically, or maybe, I don't know, I'm not really sure how they were forced. So, but however, in this context, forced gives us a negative meaning. More than 20% of all freshwater fish species are now threatened or endangered because dams and water withdrawals have destroyed the free-flowing river ecosystem where they thrive. So, it's saying that species, so like fish species, are now threatened or endangered, and the reason for that is because water dams and water withdrawals have destroyed the free flowing river ecosystems where essentially fish species, or maybe water, or the animals that live within the water, actually swim. So because it's already giving the answer for us. Certain irrigation practices degrade soil quality and reduce agricultural productivity. Groundwater aquifers are being pumped down faster than they are naturally replenished in parts of India. So groundwater aquifers are pumped down faster. They're just getting water faster. But also at the same time, they're naturally restoring something that has been used in India, China, and the US, and elsewhere. And disputes, which means arguments, over shared water resources have led to violence and continue to raise local, national, even international tensions. So basically, the arguments that's whoops, something is wrong. Okay, so the arguments have led violence, national and even international pressure. So paragraph D. Paragraph D tells something related to environment. As you can see, irrigation practices degrade soil quality and reduce agricultural productivity. That's number one. And another one is that is related to fish series, is that they are threatened, and they are threatened or endangered, which leads to a mass extinctions of fish, because free flowing river, which means a river that is there naturally, is destroyed pretty much where fish swim. So that is definitely related to environmental effects. So we're going to choose option number 5 for ourselves. So we're going to take C as well. So in our case, C was that, and we're going to choose D as that one as well. All right, now we'll go A, B, C, D, and then we have E, and then F, G, and then H. All right, so there we go. I'm gonna take that and make it a little bit bigger. So all right, there we go. So we're gonna remove D as well. At the outset of the new millennium, so at the very beginning of the new age, however, the way resource planners are scientists. So resource planners think about water. Let me choose a different highlighting color for ourselves here. Yeah, I think I'm gonna choose this salad. Think about water is so the way how scientists are planning is just beginning to change. The focus is slowly shifting back to the provision of basic human and environmental needs as top priority. So providing a basic human need and environmental need is the top first thing they have to take into consideration as top priority, ensuring some for all instead of more for some. Some water experts are now demanding that existing infrastructure, so that experts, meaning another scientists, are now demanding that existing infrastructure be used in smarter ways rather than building new facilities, which is increasingly considered the option of last. So increasingly option of last, not first resort. All right, not first resort. This shift in philosophy has not been universally accepted, and it comes with strong opposition from some established water organizations. Nevertheless, it may be the only way to address successfully the pressing problems of providing everyone. So nevertheless, despite this being said, so it may only be way to address successfully the pressing serious problems of providing everyone with clean water to drink, adequate water to grow food, and a life free from preventable water related preventable water-related illnesses. So basically, what experts or scientists are saying that they have to bring back the basic human needs, saying instead of giving some for all, instead of instead of more for some, they're choosing some for everyone, meaning equivalent number of something for everyone shared. So basically, that would the answer for option number E, so paragraph E, would definitely be the first one. So I'm gonna choose that as well. Scientists call for revision of policy because is that demanding that existing infrastructure be used in smarter ways rather than building new facility, which is increasingly considered the option of last. So scientists, in our cases, are experts and resource planners, call for a revision of policy, meaning that they are demanding that existing. So they're demanding, saying that they are demanding to view the options several times. And they said that the building, building existence infrastructures in a better way is the option last rather than the first. So, however, they have to, nevertheless, they have to just think about it. So, paragraph E would obviously be taken away with us as well. So, we're left with 3 more paragraphs. Fortunately and unexpectedly, the demand for water is not rising as rapidly as some predicted. As a result, so the demand for water is not rising as rapidly as some anticipated, right? I'm gonna choose this one. So as a result, the pressure to build new water infrastructures has diminished. So as a result, building new water infrastructures has decreased over the past 2 decades. Past 20 years. Although population, industrial output, and economic productivity have continued to soar in developed nations. So industrial and economic productivity have continued to increase quickly in developed nations, so urbanized areas. So soar means to rise quickly. The rate at which people withdraw water from aquifers, rivers, and lakes has slowed, and in few parts of the world, demand has actually fallen. So it's saying that it's talking about the reason behind, maybe not really the reason behind, but a downward trend in demand for water. That would definitely be the answer for us. A downward trend. So gonna put E in our case was first, and F in our case is a different option instead of that. So F we're gonna remove as well beforehand because it is saying that it is actually the reason behind the downward trend. So downward trend in demand for water is actually it's not really giving a reason, but it's giving us the downward trend, which is saying here diminished over the past 2 decades. Demand has actually fallen, and it is not rising as rapidly as someone might have thought, right? So yeah, that is it. So paragraph G, what explains this remarkable turn of events? 2 factors. People have figured out how to use. So now this paragraph G is explaining to why there was a downward trend. So number 1, people have figured out how to use water more efficiently, and communities are rethinking their priorities for water use. So I'm gonna let's choose a different color for that as well. Let's just actually choose yellow. Throughout the first 3 quarters of the 20th century, the quantity of fresh water consumed per person doubled on the average. In the US, water withdrawals increased tenfold. So it increased tenfold while the population quadrupled. But since 1980, the amount of water consumed per person has actually decreased. okay, thanks to a range of new technologies. So it decreased because thanks to a range of new technologies that help to conserve water in homes and industry. Conserve water means basically saving water. In 1965, for instance, Japan used approximately 13 million of gallons of water to produce $1 million of commercial output. By 1989, this had dropped to 3.5 million gallons, even accounting for inflation, almost a quadrupling of water productivity. In the USA, water withdrawals have fallen by more than 20% from their peak. So water withdrawals have fallen more than from their peak. So yeah, paragraph F was literally giving it was literally referring to a downward trend. However, the G is continuing to explain. It is continuing to explain and saying that the reason for that is two factors. Number one, people have figured out how to use water more efficiently, and communities are rethinking their priorities of water use, which is number two. And with that being said, so the amount of withdrawals of the number of withdrawals of water from various let's say lakes or rivers has been decreased. So basically, option G would so let's see, to raise standards addressing. Okay, there we go. We have option number 2 as an answer for us. So an explanation for reduced water use. Explanation number 1 is that people started using water more efficiently, and communities are thinking their priorities for water use. Instead of just literally wasting water, they just thinking before wasting it. All right, so we're left with only paragraph H. All right, so on the other hand, dams, aqueducts, and other kinds of infrastructure will still have to be built, particularly in developing countries where basic human needs. So on the other hand, that's another thing we have to know. On the other hand, dams, aqueducts, and other kinds of infrastructure will have to be built. So infrastructures will have to be built. We're gonna take that. And in developing countries where basic human needs have not been yet met. All right, so where in developing countries? So I actually have to remove this instead of that. I have to highlight instead of striking through. But such projects must be built to higher specifications and with more accountability to local people and their environment than in the past. And even in regions where new projects seem warranted, we must find ways to meet demands with fewer resources, respecting ecological criteria and to a smaller budget. So paragraph H is just saying that it's basically, I would say, to raise the standards. So let's choose that option. That is definitely to raise the standards. Because G was number 2, and this one we're going to change again as well. So yeah, 10, I guess, right? The reason why it's saying that the need to raise standard is that the need is actually saying that infrastructure will have to be built, should be built in developing countries where basic human necessity is not yet provided, and therefore, if it is built, and it must be built actually, but it must be built, however, with higher specifications and with more accountability, meaning that they have to raise the standards. They have to raise the standards, not rise the standards, but they have to raise the standards. A standard is let's say it's a quality. A standard is a good quality where generally accepted. All right. So yeah, there we go. We answered we already gave, not really gave, but found a very step-by-step approach for this. Now we're gonna go for the yes or no given questions. All right, so water use per person is higher in the industrial world than it was in ancient Rome. If you remember, in option paragraph A said that supplied where is it? Water use per person is higher in the industrial world than it was in ancient Rome. No, so it actually supplied occupants of Rome with as much water per person as provided in many parts of the industrial world today. So the answer for that was going to be not given, basically. So 24. I'm going to choose 21 as not really not given, but no. I'm sorry for that, because it is not. It's not the answer that is not given. It is no, because it is saying that the water use is higher. It is higher in the industrial area than it is in ancient Rome. Okay, so that's what we generally need to know. So let me choose different colors, as I love choosing colors for that. So yeah, 21 answered. Feeding increasing population is possible due primarily to improved irrigation systems. So they're saying it is possible to feed increasing populations because irrigation systems are improving or improved. All right, so we want that to consider. If you remember that, so you can see that the answer contains in paragraph B, because food production has kept pace with soaring populations, rising population, because mainly, which is a synonym for primarily, mainly because of the expansion of artificial irrigation systems that make possible the growth of 40% of the world's food today. So basically, if you would say that is not given, so that is a false. The answer for that would be definitely yes, and definitely the word artificial has nothing to do with the answer. So yeah, the answer is for that is well, obviously yes. Modern water systems imitate those of the ancient Greeks and Romans. So there's another one. Water systems, we can see the paragraph C we read before. World's populations, they suffer, and water surfaces are not good to those available in the ancient Greeks and Romans. However, the question says that they first of all imitate. That is the first one, and second of all, they not only imitate. I mean, they obviously mock ancient Greeks and Romans. But is it that the modern water systems, is it that it's modern? We're not really sure about that, because it is saying nothing about mocking. That is number one, and it's saying noething about the systems. Water services have nothing to do with the systems. So basically, for that is going to be not given. I'm going to choose not given. Let me give you a in-depth explanation. The reason for that is modern water systems imitate those of the ancient Greeks and Romans. So okay, so that is saying that a very developed one. However, here, water services, it's saying that half of the world's population, they suffer, and water services inferior to those available. So water services are not good to those available to the ancient Greeks and Romans. It is basically not giving us an information about water systems, but actually saying that the water services are not good. Similarly, that is available in ancient Greeks and Romans. However, here it is just saying that it is just comparing modern water systems that was available in the ancient Greeks and Romans. So that is it. 24. Industrial growth is increasing the overall demand for water. So so we can find the information maybe in paragraph D. We will always have to know that yes, no given, true, false, not given. They always come in order. So if they're beginning from the very first one, they always go below that. So the consequences of water policies extend beyond jeopardizing human health. However, let's read the question one more time. Industrial growth is increasing the overall demand of water. 24, I would say the opposite. It is saying that it is increasing the overall demand for water, because I remember that the consequences make way for reservoirs threatened and endangered, have destroyed irrigation practices, degrade soil, and something like that, pump them faster. Here is nothing about industrial growth. However, demand for water is not rising as rapidly as some predicted. As a result, the pressure to build new water infrastructure has diminished over the past few decades. That is the first decrease. Industrial output. There we go. Industrial output in economic productivity has continued to rise in developed nations. However, the question here is saying that basically 24 increasing the overall demand for water. No, the demand for water is not actually rising, but demand has actually fallen. So the answer for that is going to be 24 is going to be no. So we're going to go with the 25 now. So 25 says modern technologies have led to a reduction in domestic water consumption. Modern technologies, if you remember, we had a modern technology thanks to modern technologies. All right, so the amount of water consumed per person has actually decreased thanks to a range of new technologies that help to conserve water in homes and industry. So 25 modern technologies have led to a reduction in domestic water consumption. Domestic water consumption means in homes and industry. So domestic, homes. So the answer for that would be definitely yes. Now we'll go. Now let's go through the question number 26. In the future, governments should maintain ownership of water infrastructure. So the key word, maintain an ownership. Who should maintain? Governments. So, however, we remember that we can see that infrastructures will have to be built in developing countries. That's number one. And there was another one saying that it was over here that existing infrastructures used in smarter ways. However, there's nothing about ownership, meaning to own, to control, to be a private portion or a private aspect, or let's say of a private property of the government. So the answer for that is definitely not given, because it's saying nothing about ownership. However, because not really, because it's just because it's saying that infrastructures, they're just saying that the first one is saying the infrastructures. So scientists, experts, in this case resource planners and experts, they're asking the government to not really the government but everyone to use existing infrastructures in smarter ways. And the last one is saying that the infrastructure will have to be built in developing countries where basic human needs have not been met. So there you go, guys. That is the end of another walkthrough series of this video. If you have any questions, you can literally leave them in the comment section below. Once again, definitely check the link provided below the video in the description box, and you'll find a link to my platform where I just literally share the vocabularies I have collected from every single passage, and with the definition and the Sefer level, and I think which is pretty helpful and comes in handy when learning actually English, or maybe solving questions in IELTS reading. So everyone, thank you for watching, and have a wonderful day.